What is Harris doing wrong compared to the Democrats that have been victorious here? Or is the Keystone State simply refusing to hand over the keys of the White House to someone who shouldn't even be vice president, let alone driving? Joining us now, Jondavid Longo, U.S. Marine and Pennsylvania State Director of Early Vote Action. Jondavid, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me, Chanel. It's a pleasure to be here with you again.
Okay, so you're on the ground every day. You're talking to voters. You're talking to potential voters. When Obama lectured black men, he was in Pittsburgh, and Obama won your state. Why isn't Kamala deploying more key allies here across Pennsylvania, and why doesn't she have the support of local politicians?
Well, first, I think it's important to remember that Kamala Harris and her entire campaign understand that the momentum is with us in the Republican Party here on the ground in Pennsylvania, and especially in places like Western Pennsylvania, including Pittsburgh. And the proof is in the pudding. You can't argue with the data. For instance, just in this last week, Pennsylvania saw a notable shift in voter registration, particularly for registrations for Republicans, in that we got 22,000 and change extra Republican voters on our rolls compared to the measly just over 9,000 increase seen from the Democratic Party. So it's obvious to us that she is losing support here. And I think that's why they're trying very hard to stop the hemorrhaging, and they're deciding to send their resources for places where they feel a little bit better about their prospects. But Pennsylvania just is not on that list right now.
Wow, those are stunning numbers. Well, there's other things that might be at play here, including a personal angle, and I wanted your take on this. Maybe you've heard something about it. Joe Biden is famously from Pennsylvania. We call him Scranton Joe. But according to that piece in Axios, the staffs of Biden and Harris are not getting along. And I saw this firsthand in the Biden White House back when I was reporting on it. They're actually at war to this day, according to Axios. Your take on how that may be affecting the ground out there?
I think it's obvious to anybody who's watching, Chanel, that the Biden team and Joe Biden himself are not playing very nicely with Kamala Harris. And let's face it, why should they? Kamala Harris and her people deliberately ousted Joe Biden, of course, from the nomination for the presidency of the United States, something that we don't see very often, if at all, in our history, where you see somebody's own vice president trying to push them away. Of course, there are a few historical events where we can point to, but this hasn't happened in over a century where we've seen something like this. So we can't really blame Joe Biden and his team for not playing so nicely with Kamala Harris. Mix that with the fact that everybody and their mother understands, too, that Kamala Harris as a candidate is not a candidate that is garnering a whole lot of support or excitement across the United States. And so why is it that the Democrats, or some of the highest ranking Democrats, including the sitting president, Joe Biden, would use their political capital on a losing candidate? You know, it just it wouldn't make sense. And so I'm not surprised to see this. And it's very sad for them. But of course, on our side, we're cheering and jumping for joy because we understand that the writing seems to be on the wall. And by no means am I saying that we should get complacent or comfortable, but it's obvious to everybody that they have put up a failing candidate. And whenever your own party starts to turn their backs on you, you know that you're not in a good spot. And unfortunately for Kamala Harris, that's the case now.
So on another level, again, Pennsylvania is a target, and Elon Musk, who has famously endorsed Donald Trump, he's tweeted that as of tomorrow night, he will be campaigning throughout Pennsylvania until Monday, giving a series of talks throughout Pennsylvania. And this is very different. This is something that I think a lot of people maybe expected out of Musk, but the fact that he's actually on the ground and appealing to Pennsylvanians himself is very different.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.